Hey, welcome to another Breadcrumbs. We are in the book of Ecclesiastes, and Solomon is continuing to give us some amazing, beautiful poetry and wisdom literature for us to consider as we walk out our days and our time here on earth. Today's readings, we were from Ecclesiastes chapter 7 through chapter 11, verse 6. So just a few thoughts as we're walking through these pages. Number one, he's talking about a few things that just stand out to me, and I want to contrast them with what Jesus says, or parallel them with what Jesus says, really. Number one, he talks a lot about wealth and the meaninglessness of pursuing, accruing, and building up an empire for yourself here on earth and chasing after the wind, Solomon says many, many times. And so he says, what value is it to amass for yourself all this treasure that you're never going to be able to take with you, and someone else is going to spend it, and you'll have no say on what they do with all that you worked so hard to acquire. I think this is really an important idea that Jesus actually develops, and he says, don't store up for yourselves treasure on earth, or don't make that your primary focus and your primary drive, your primary passion, because moth and rust will eat away that treasure. But store up for yourselves treasure in heaven. In other words, invest in eternal things, right? Jesus said, if you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, all these other things are going to be added to you. And I think Solomon is saying something very, very straightforward here. No one has amassed as much material property and wealth and wisdom as Solomon. And he's saying at the end of it, he's done it all, he's seen it all, he's acquired it all, and it's all meaningless. I think that's a really important lesson for us, particularly in the West, in a materialistic society where we're told that we have to have and we don't have enough, and we're always looking for more. We have to remember, Jesus said, you can't serve God and money. You can't serve two masters. You'll love the one and hate the other, or you'll despise the one and love the other. So we have to be careful what is in our hearts as human beings. Where our hearts are, our treasure will be also. And so as we delight in God and as he becomes our treasure, we're going to be valuing eternal things more and more and storing up for ourselves his blessing and his treasure in this life and for certain in the life to come. So Solomon has a lot to say about the pursuit of wealth. I love also what Solomon is saying here about death being the equalizer. It's the equalizer between rich and poor. It's the equalizer between the wise and the foolish. Death comes for us all. And I think one of the phrases that he says is it's good. The wise think about their end. They consider that death is going to come and it's inevitable, and they make their peace with God about that idea. And I think Moses talks about this in Psalm 90. Where it's teach us to number our days, remembering that our life is but a breath. And in fact, every breath that we breathe comes from God. In fact, the same Hebrew word for the word spirit is ruach. That's the same as the word breath. And so God breathed into man. He put his spirit in us, male and female. And as we breathe, it's important to notice that our life is but a breath. It's here today, gone tomorrow. And we have to remember that what we do with that time, whether we're rich or we're poor, whether we're wise or we're foolish, we've been given all the same amount of time. And how do we choose to invest that are we going to invest it in the Lord and his kingdom, or are we going to invest it in pursuits that are very temporal? And I think Solomon has a lot to say about that as well. He talks about, he continues to contrast the wise and the foolish, and he talks about justice and injustice. But really, ultimately, Solomon's going to land on fear God. God is the one that we need to be most cognizant of. And so I'm enjoying going through Ecclesiastes. For me, I call Ecclesiastes a cup of perspective. It's not a quote unquote happy book. It's not full of cheerful thoughts, but it's full of wise thoughts and important perspective for humans to consider as we contemplate our life and what our purpose is, what the meaning of life is, what truly is valuable from God's perspective, and lining up with his value system. So I hope you guys are really enjoying our journey through Ecclesiastes. Obviously, this is just a 50,000 foot. Just want to touch on a few thoughts, but anyway, God bless you. We'll look forward to talking more about this amazing book on Bread for the Journey. Have a great day.